Hello, fellow explorers. What are some of the messages that we are receiving from our higher selves right now about how we can better trust ourselves? What ways are we getting in our own way because we're not allowing ourselves to really root in and trust ourselves to know that we already know what's right for us? So go ahead and jump on into this timeless tarot pick a card reading and find out. Hello, fellow explorers. Welcome to the Mystic Lemur. My name is Rita, and it is my honor to be your guide through the messages in this reading. Today, we're looking at what are some of the messages from your higher self to help you realize ways that you've been thwarting yourself, blocking yourself, undermining yourself, sabotaging yourself because you haven't been trusting yourself. If you want other people to value you, trust you, look up to you, listen to you, value you, respect your boundaries, how can you do that if you don't even do it for yourself? How can you expect other people to do it if you don't even honor yourself enough to do so for yourself? I resonate with this question because this is a question that I've been asking myself for many years, so you're certainly not alone. And let's go ahead and jump on into our 3 pick a card piles to figure out what is it that our higher selves are trying to tell us right now about how we can better trust ourselves. So we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3. It's pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. So settling into a comfortable seated position, grounding in, rooting in, feeling that nourishing energy of the earth beneath us as we take our 3 rounds of nourishing mindful breath to allow the inner being to step forward and speak to us. Opening up the eyes, zeroing in on the pile that's speaking to you. You may need to pause the video here to let your inner being step forward a bit more, but as we're going ahead, we'll go ahead and jump on into pile number 1. Pile number 1, what's a message from your higher self today about how you can better trust yourself? Allow those good things that are all already in your vortex, already there for you vibrationally. How can you allow those things to step forward to you physically by allowing yourself to trust yourself more? So first of all, what are the ways that you are blocking yourself? What are the ways that you've been distrusting yourself? Group number 1. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. So you've been in a space where you've been feeling like you're drowning, like you've been overwhelming yourself. You've been piling on the stuff. You've been putting yourself in too much emotional turmoil. So this is a card that's ruled by water, and water speaks of the emotions. So you've been really in a space where you haven't allowed yourself to come up for air. You haven't allowed yourself to peek up and realize that you've already got that ascended glory. You've already got that enlightenment that you're looking for. You've already got the answers that you're looking for, but it's just that you keep yourself buried. You keep yourself dug in. You keep yourself stuck in the muck that you're not allowing yourself to see that truth that you already have. What other ways have you been distrusting yourself? What other ways have you been blocking yourself? Group number 1, we have the Queen of Wands. So this is warping, distortion of the mature, receptive energy, female being the more receptive end of it, the maturity in how you've been receiving spirit, how you've been receiving energy. So this could be that you've been stuck in bitterness, you've stuck in grudges, you're holding grudges, you're focusing on how things aren't fair, how things aren't working out for you, and it's really just like it's dispersing your energy. It's really distorting. Again, it's distorting your energy body, and making it hard for you to really connect up with your inner body or with your inner being and with your higher self because you've allowed this being swamped to leach all your energy, shoot it out, prevent yourself being receptive to what's truly nourishing your energy body. And it's dispersed, it's displayed, it's just sort of like splattered all over the place is what I'm seeing. What else have you been doing that's been blocking you and being an expression of your distrust of yourself? Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So you've been at this space where you're not trusting yourself to take that leap. You're not trusting yourself to spin the wheel. You're not trusting yourself that you make your own luck. You think that you're at the whims of fate, and you're seeing all these ways, again, with you being stuck in it's not fair, the ways that fate hasn't been working for you, luck hasn't been working for you, and you see yourself as a victim of circumstance. So these are all ways that you haven't been trusting yourself to know that you already have everything that you need to be that elevated person that you aspire to be. Because again, the intention of this reading and the intention of this channel is to help you realize that higher self. We also have some messages from that higher self for how you can better trust yourself, how you can release these things that have been blocking you and realize the glory that you already are. How can you better trust yourself right now? Group number 1. 2 of Wands in reverse. So you are in a space where you're swamped, and because you're so swamped, you're feeling like you need to plan your way out of this. You're stuck in this energy of needing to come into that internal balance with your spirit, with your energy, and you don't need to plan anymore. You don't need to think about it anymore. You need to start taking action. You need to trust yourself that your plans are already in place and things are happening for a reason, and you don't need to know how every bit is going to fall into place. The plan is there for you. You just need to trust that it is there. Trust that you have created all of these beautiful things for yourself. You just need to allow it to come forward. How else can you trust yourself? Setting the intention. I know that my plans are already in place. I know that the plan is in place, even if I don't directly see it. I am going to trust that it's there, and I'm going to step forward. What else can you do to trust yourself more? Death. So not just that you're going to die, but it is true that many people choose to stay in contrast and choose to stay in this belief that they are victims of circumstance, coming forward to this transformation, choosing to believe that you have the capacity to shuffle off this identity or this belief that is holding you back and allow yourself to be this new self. So here what I'm seeing is you may have very clear understanding that you're stuck in this belief that it's not fair, that you're sitting in grudges, sitting in jealousy, but that's what you've always known. That's what your whole context around you has been for most of your life. And so you can't quite imagine who you would be if you didn't do that, because it's so ingrained. And so that's a bit of a challenge, just like imagining an alternative possibility, and then allowing for who you would be at that time. So what you're invited to do here is to trust yourself that you can go through this transformation. It will be in some way. It might feel like a lot of parts of you have died, but it's not because they are gone forever. It's because they're no longer serving you. You learned that lesson, and it's time to let that go. And we also have another way that you can trust yourself better. Group number 1 is the 4 of Chalices. So trusting yourself that you have done the work, and that you can accept these little impulses, these little gifts of insight, especially in the emotional body. So you're getting cues through your emotions. That's the Suit of Cups is about water and emotions. So again, you're feeling swamped, and so you've really been drowning out the feelings in your body, feelings in your emotions. You haven't been trusting your emotions. You haven't been trusting yourself to know, like, I get an icky feeling about that person. I'm just being unreasonable. You are being reasonable, and you're in this space where you can trust yourself to notice those little twinges, notice those little cues that your emotions are giving you, and follow them, because they are giving you this space to create your own destiny, create your own circumstance, to choose to be of a high vibrational, of a high expression of your self-interest and of your self-worth, regardless of the context. It's easy to feel good when the sun is out. It's easy to feel good when things are going in your favor. But if you feel like things are not going in your favor, that's the opportunity to say, actually, I see the hidden benefit in this. So here you're looking for that hidden benefit, and it's cueing through you. It's cueing to you how you can get onto that path through your emotional body. So you need to trust yourself to follow those emotional cues. What do we have for you in the words of wisdom from the flowers? We have Sweet Elysium. Clarity. Bright paths of understanding will open, right? So once you allow yourself to get out of this energy of being swamped, it could be that you've been keeping yourself very busy. So allowing yourself to come to that space of, I have chosen this feeling of overwhelmment, but now I'm choosing to release this feeling, and I'm choosing to tap into my emotional cues for the things that I genuinely do need and genuinely are serving me, and that will help me bring my space into clarity so I can see that I don't need to plan anymore. The plan's already in place. I just need to follow it through. We also have Stephanotis, cooperation. Take the hand offered. Take the hand offered. If there's a gift of spirit being offered to you through your emotions, take it. Or ask. Don't be afraid to say, hey, spirit, or someone who's not a spirit, someone who's actually in your physical space. I'm having a hard time with all this stuff that I put onto my shoulders. Can you help me delegate? It's people around because they will respond to your energy, and if you come to them with an energy of, maybe you stuffed up something, but you're fixing it now, and the people who need to be around you will understand and they will help you. And here are your words of healing wisdom, group number 1. We have distinguish the importance of your inner spiritual work from outer success. Right. So I'm seeing this with bringing this Queen of Wands from reverse to upright, noticing that there's a lot of stuff that isn't happening internally for you throughout this cycle, throughout this period, and bringing in this transformation. The outside may not match the inside yet, but because you're in a space where you're being offered to trust that this path is unfolding for you, you just need to trust to follow it. Just need to trust to step off and step outside of your front door. The success will come, but it starts from the inside. So incremental progress is progress. Noticing those subtle changes through the emotions first, and the rest will follow. In the back of the deck energy here, we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. So there's a new direction in your spirit that's happening, again, with this reversed Queen and reversed 2. So the energy and your spirit are beginning to start to head in a new direction. This could also be an indication that you have a lot of fire sign energy. You may be a fire sign, so that's Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. But it's more directed inward. So the background context may be, again, that you've burnt yourself out, you've overworked, you've been over-reliant just on your willpower, and you haven't been connecting to the rest of your body, especially you haven't been connecting through your emotions. And so this background of what you've gone through has led you to this place where you're not trusting yourself because you feel like, I knew better. I knew what I was doing was overwhelming me, but I chose to do it anyway, and now you feel like you can't trust yourself to do the right thing because you knew it was the wrong thing and you did it anyway. So again, trusting that you can let go of that. You don't even need to be holding a grudge against yourself. You've learned what you need to learn, and you're ready to take on this transformation. So that is what I have for you, group number 1. Please let me know in the comments below how this sat with you. I'd also like to see you joining this community through clicking that subscribe button, and while you're there, you might also like to hit the like button. I look forward to seeing you again very soon, group number 1. Thank you so much for joining me through this reading, and until I see you again, we'll go ahead and jump on into group number 2. Group number 2. What are the messages that you may be receiving through this reading from your higher self for ways that you can better trust yourself to bring forward into this world those good things that you've already set up for yourself? Stop blocking yourself from getting all that juicy goodness that you've put forward already. So first, what are the ways that you've been distrusting yourself? What are the ways that you've been blocking yourself? Group number 2. The Knight of Swords. So I'm seeing here you've been letting your mind run amok a bit. So the Swords is the suit of the mind, suit of mental energy, the mental body, and the Knights are about service. So coming up as this challenge, you've been distrusting yourself to trust your own thoughts. You've been distrusting yourself to allow your mind to align with yourself. So it could be that you've made bad decisions in the past, and so you don't even trust your own you don't even trust your own logic at this time. You feel like someone's told you in the past that you don't have good logic. Someone has told you in the past that you're not very good at planning things. You're not very good at being in charge of your own mind. You feel like someone else has been controlling your mind. That's part of the ways that you haven't been trusting yourself to know that your thoughts are things, and those things are serving you. So you've been letting someone else do a lot of the thinking for you. What else have you been distrusting yourself, blocking yourself on? Group number 2, have the 10 of Swords and upright. So I'm seeing you've been distrusting that you can let go of the negative feelings. So whatever it is that happened to you that made you distrust your mind, made you distrust that you could have your mind actually serving you rather than something that would be ruling you or taking you in the wrong direction. This has given you quite a lot of grief. This has been giving you quite a lot of challenge and pain and suffering. This is the minor arcana version of the Tower card. So whatever it is that made you distrust your own thoughts, could have been a major catastrophic shift that now makes you feel like you need to hang on to this pain of feeling like you can't trust your mind because it went in a place that you didn't want it to go at that time. I'm going to say right now, if this is resonating for anyone as a mental health issue, I'm not qualified to give medical advice. I would say that you should follow whatever your medical support team is telling you. But this is an indication that it's been quite troubling for you, and you're having a hard time letting the lesson of that period or of that episode settle in and really take its effect, because it's just been such a shock to the system. So what else have you been distrusting yourself through in this cycle? Group number 2, we have the High Priestess. So again, yeah, I'm getting mental energy here. You haven't been allowing your inner being, you haven't been allowing that subconscious mind, that space that sits between good or bad, right or wrong, left or right, so that space between the duality, to speak to you. You haven't been allowing your subconscious mind to connect back up with you and give you that lesson that you're meant to be integrating through this, not trusting your mind. So allowing that whatever happened to distort the sense of reality that you lived in, you're not trusting yourself that this is allowing you to really level up and to be a much higher being than you've had before. This is really holding you back and preventing you from finding balance between the two extremes of being your mind being one way or being another way. So it could be that there's a very concrete, very linear way that you've been thinking about reality, and something has happened to completely shift that expression of reality for you, and now it's you're still not trusting that nuance that comes in between the two. Like either you're completely wrong or you're completely right, but it's like shades of correct. That's really what you're distrusting at this time, this sort of like shades of reality, shades of correct, that you're not really quite ready for allowing to be true for yourself yet, and so you're distrusting yourself around that. What else we had extra cards come out for you, group number 2. So what else are you distrusting yourself about right now? The Lovers. So because again, I'm getting this because you've been in a space where you're not trusting your own sense of reality. You're not trusting yourself to make good choices either. And it could be that you've gotten yourself into some romantic scrapes because of that, because it could be that you've had a past lover or a past partner who frankly gaslighted you and made you believe that you couldn't trust your own sense of reality, and that's really been hanging around you. It's really been pulling you down, and so this sense that you can't even make your own choices for yourself, you can't figure out what you even want to commit to because you don't think that you can even trust your own sense of reality, and you don't think you can trust your own thoughts. So what else do we have to offer to you with this context of what looks like a fair bit of mental turmoil? I'm definitely seeing with this romance card here, it could be some mental abuse, gaslighting in the past. What is your higher self offering to you right now, group number 2, to help you heal, help you get back to a space where you can trust yourself again? We have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. So the 8s, this is a card about manifesting into the physical reality, and the 8s are the 8 of Pentacles. Looks to me like a very productive card, a very sort of like industrious, getting into the nitty-gritty and really churning things out physically, so being very physically productive. I see this as the minor arcana version of Capricorn energy, so you can be that like industrious worker. Coming up in reverse to help you find more space where you can trust yourself, especially in how you can trust your mind to be serving you rather than ruling you or taking you in the wrong direction. Don't try to try so hard, is what I'm really seeing here, is that you need to release and realize that it's already within you. So the 8 speaks of being, as above, so below, as within, so without. So coming back to the part of the mind, part of the reason why you're not allowing the mind to speak to you is because you don't trust it. So that could be an indication that you need to spend even more time with it. So I'm seeing a meditative practice along the lines of like vipassana, where it's all about just becoming the observer, really tapping into who is the I that's listening to the inner dialogue in your head. So becoming aware that you are that I, and watching things as they go through your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, and just noticing that those are all temporary. And so you can notice the programs that you're running. They aren't necessarily you, they're just programs that possibly have been put here by whoever was gaslighting you, or whoever convinced you that your sense of reality is false, and choosing that you can rewrite that narrative. What other ways can you trust yourself again? Group number 2, we have the Hierophant. So speaking to higher power, speaking to a learned authority. So it could be that, therapy, or going to some spiritual healer, some spiritual leader can help give you that sense of finding your compass again, finding your guiding light again, and getting back into a space where you can forgive yourself for whatever happened that made you think that you can't trust your mind anymore. So that this coming into, it could be a more traditional way of dealing with spirituality in particular, maybe someone in a faith-based leadership position can help you get through this sort of tower moment and help you find the ego death. So releasing those parts of the story that you're running in your mind that you don't need anymore through this sort of higher level of spiritual teaching. What else can you do to help yourself trust yourself more? Group number 2, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So mother yourself. Yeah, just take care of yourself, especially physically. Really make sure that you are meeting your own physical needs. So it could be in a situation where you're still with a partner who isn't treating you that well, is making you think that you can't trust your own mind. Getting into a space where you can eat good food, drink good water, go for a little bit of light exercise every day, making sure that you are mothering yourself. You're not relying on anyone else to give you that nurturing, because it could be tied in with this pain. Like the nurturing is coming with a cost of, you have to deny yourself, or you have to deny your own sense of worth. It's never a worthwhile trade-off. So starting by mothering yourself, and that can allow you to connect in with this higher level of understanding of that nuance of truth that's emerging to you. And what else can you do to trust yourself more? Group number 2, 5 of Chalices in reverse. So stop looking at the past. Stop hanging on to nostalgia. And again, if this is resonating as a relationship that hasn't gone so well for you, be really honest with yourself about what actually is happening in this relationship, and who you are in this relationship, and if that is someone you really want to be. As I was in not a very nice relationship once upon a time, and I would say that person did gaslight me a little bit, maybe more than a little bit, and I just noticed that I really hated the self I was in that relationship. So just being really clear and honest with yourself about how you are denying your own emotions in this space, because the cups, the chalices speak of the emotions. How are you showing up for yourself, and how can you show up for yourself better? Trusting more into allowing yourself to feel things, and knowing that you can be what you want to be here. All right, so words of wisdom from the flowers for you. Group number 2, we have cyclamen, resignation. Say goodbye to what you no longer need. Absolutely. So this belief that's holding you back could be that there was this sense of like, you need this for reality to be complete, or you need this to have a solid sense of reality. You need this to be a good person. Letting those things go by the wayside. You don't need them anymore. What else can you do to help yourself trust yourself more? An enemy, optimism. Look up and look brightly. So do not be afraid to look at the bright side, to find the silver lining, to believe that things can be better, because they won't start being better until you allow that to happen. And finally, words of healing wisdom for you, group number 2, we have soften and open back into love all day long, absolutely. So if you've had a tough romantic situation, it can be really hard to trust your heart again. So the first thing to do is to realize that if you lock your heart away, you'll lose it for sure. And the more that you try to tighten down the fortress, the more that people will just come in. Like, this is really something that also happened to me, is I wasn't valuing my own boundaries. And so I kept magnetizing into my life people who would consistently violate my boundaries, because I didn't even trust myself to believe that I was worthy of that kind of consideration. So the first step for me to get past that was to realize that I, hurt people. And sometimes I was hurting so much that I continued to hurt myself. Like, there was a masochistic streak about it, that I didn't believe that anyone would value and honor me enough to allow my boundaries to be honored. And so even well-meaning people would come into my life and just trample right over my boundaries. So the way that I needed to get past that was to open my heart again, because it was that I had locked it down. I was that Queen of Swords in reverse. I was that cold, distant B word for woman, right? I just didn't want anyone near me. And the more that I said I don't want anyone near me, the more people were just like, well, okay, then, you don't matter. Which is a weird paradoxical way that the universe sometimes works. But the solution to that was not to further tighten and clench my heart. The solution to that was soften into love. Love of myself first and foremost. Realizing that I may have made mistakes, but that doesn't make me unworthy, and that doesn't make me... doesn't make it okay for people to treat me that way, and doesn't make it okay for me to beat myself up for having had to learn those lessons in that way, because now I'm able to connect with other people. Those wounds that we get throughout life are blessings, because they give us this depth of insight. They give us this window into the High Priestess to be able to shine the light for others to follow. So soften up, open back up into love every moment of every day. Set that intention. That can be, maybe that's an affirmation that you want to set for yourself in the beginning of every day, is that you will walk through life with an open heart. Please pardon that interruption. The camera ran out of battery, or ran out of space. So what I was saying is living with an open heart and trusting yourself that you're safe to have your heart be open. So those are all the messages I have for you, group number 2. Please let me know in the comments below how you found this reading, what you thought of it, and also you might like to give this video a like. And I'd love to have you join this growing community around the channel by hitting that subscribe button. Until we meet again, thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide. Heading on to group number 3. Heading on to group number 3. Group number 3, what are some messages from your higher self so you can trust yourself more and allow yourself to bring in all the juicy goodness you've already put into the vortex for yourself? We have, what are the ways that you have been distrusting yourself up until now? Group number 3, the Knight of Wands in reverse. So you have been, you've not really been trusting your energy. You haven't been trusting your spirit. You've been maybe a little bit overly fiery, a little overly aggressive in ways, and now you're maybe you're even burnt out. You're not really feeling like you can trust yourself to move forward energetically in a way that is actually serving you. The Knights are about service, and so this way that you've been using your energy has been undermining you in some way. What other ways have you been distrusting yourself, blocking yourself? Group number 3, we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So you have been maybe quite a little bit miserly. You've been pretty good at having money flow in, but then it's maybe been flowing right back out. And you're feeling right now that you want to hoard your money. You're really stuck in a space of scarcity mindset, and you're being quite imperious. You're being quite controlling about money in a way that is really blocking you from living the life that you really want to live. So I'm seeing like penny wise, dollar poor, in the sense of you're really nickeling and diming things, and you're like you're stressing over a $2 difference of a purchase when like you wouldn't worry about something much bigger. Like you're stressing about whether you want to buy the $1 can of beans or the $2 can of beans, but then you're not doing a really important thing like investing in your future, investing in your like health insurance or something really big and important, because you're looking at too much at the small details of, especially of your finances, and being stuck in that scarcity mindset. What else are you doing that's distrusting of yourself right now? Group number 3, we have the 9 of Pentacles. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like your energy, you might be burning out, you're not trusting yourself to handle money very well, and because of this, you're really blocking your way through leveling up and maturing your spending, and also maturing the way that you're bringing the money into you. So like we have this imagery of like a tree and a bush that's producing money. So you're not allowing yourself to trust that there is enough there for you to reap. There is enough there for you to bring forth for yourself at this time. So what are ways that you can better trust yourself? Group number 3, we have the Chariot, inspired action. So with this coming up under the Knight of Wands, don't push, don't try to make things happen if you're not feeling. So there are definitely ways, like you need to get out of bed in the morning, and you need to shower, you need to eat good food, drink good water, have light exercise. If you have a job, you need to go to work, but you don't need to force yourself to do things that you know are ultimately against your better interest, except insofar as that's a bridge to getting to where you want to go. So like if you're in a job you hate, you shouldn't necessarily quit today, especially if you're feeling like you can't trust yourself to have enough money, but you can begin to set the intentions that you will come into the inspired action to rectify your financial situation. You can begin to put your resume out. You can begin to look into investing in some training that will help you level up. You can begin to set the intention that you will trust the universe to bring you insight into a new career that you hadn't even imagined yourself in. You can trust that you can take that inspired action rather than forced action to make your dreams come true. What else can you do to better trust yourself? Group number 3, we have 7 of Pentacles, right? So tying with this 9 of Pentacles here, your fruits of your labor are there for you to harvest, but they're not quite there yet. So again, aligning with harvesting through the inspired action, instead of forcing and being miserly and focusing on what you don't have. Here, the 7 is these fruits on this tree that are not quite harvestable yet. They're not quite ripe yet. But instead of noticing how empty his basket is, this person is instead looking with contented, inspired anticipation for what will come, knowing that you need to have faith and be aware that you've already put forth what you need. Your desires are leading you. 7s in the Minor Arcana speak about the desires. So your desires for what you want to have in this life will lead you to where you need to be, but you need to first connect in with them and trust that you are allowed to have what you want. So it could be that you spent so much time focusing on what you can't have, focusing on the scarcity, focusing on the lack, that you've completely dissociated yourself from what you really want. And so it could be that, I ask you, what is it you want from life? And you can't give me an answer. You don't even know what makes you happy. It's because you've been so much in a space where people have told you that's stupid, or you can't, or it's not feasible, or we can't afford it. So I'm seeing here with all this Pentacles energy, maybe doing some money mindset work to allow yourself to connect back with what your desires are. So it could be that because you are holding this contradictory belief that you believe you want a thing, but you also believe that you can't have it with equal intensity, it's getting you in a stalemate. So finding how you can dig into the roots of those limiting beliefs around money to allow yourself to release the belief that you cannot, but hold on to a belief that you can, and that will propel you forward into this inspired action. What is another way that you can better trust yourself? Group number 3, we have judgment. So tapping into your discernment. We got, again, this 20 here, so clear vision. 20 being, this is a year of completions, of starting new cycles, so trusting your discernment. And here we have the imagery of these people who are resurrecting from the grave, who are being called to awaken by this clarion call of the angels, but they're still sort of stuck in this samsara, this suffering of this world. They're sort of like yelling at spirit, like, I asked for these things. Why can't I have these things? It's so unfair. So using your discernment to release that sense of it's unfair, and instead notice how this is just putting more momentum into what you want by helping you clarify what you don't want. What are some ways that we can offer you some advice from the words of the flowers? Group number 3, we have camellia, peace, be calm, and calm will come. Yep. So that's definitely tapping in, especially with this Knight of Wands, is don't push things, don't force yourself, allow for your energy to rebuild if you feel burnt out, if you feel like you're stuck in scarcity. Come into peace. Don't focus on what you don't have. Just allow your mind to be neutral if it's really difficult. If it's really difficult to think of anything positive around this, don't think about it for a while. Spend some time, like even just go take a nap. If you can't think of anything that would make you happy at this moment, take a nap if you can. It's a short nap, or go for a walk, or meditate, something to bring your mind back into neutrality. I've definitely been in that space in the past week, so I can tell you for sure. Sometimes what you just need is to take a few moments, carve out a few minutes for yourself in some way, and just like maybe even lay on the floor and just be in a shavasana, posture of release by laying on the back with a neutral spine, starfishing the body, and just being like, you know what, universe, let me see what I need to see. I release, I let go, I surrender. Coming into that space of peace will help you get away from this focus on what you don't have. And what else do we have? Red rose, courage. So red rose is also ruled by Venus, which is also speaking to me. There's some Empress energy here for you as well. So really bringing out that abundance that is there for you. But be courageous, be brave, be strong, believe. So courage, this is another thing that's really been spiking up for me lately. You can't be courageous if you don't have fear. So if you're stuck in, if you're stuck in this belief that I wouldn't if you think that it's evidence that you can't have it because you doubt it, especially if you're in a manifestation practice, that you're feeling low vibrational expressions of emotions around this idea, that means that you can't have it, or it's not meant to be. It's meant to be because you want it. And the way that you're going about doing it may be out of alignment with your higher self, which is why you're not feeling that connection with it. So working through the fear, working through the limiting belief, working through the doubt, as I said, do some money mindset work, maybe some EFT tapping around money beliefs could really help you to get back into that space of stepping forward with inspired action and courage. So the Chariot card also is a card that's telling you about courage, and that the road ahead may be rocky, but fear will just keep you small if you let it direct you forever. And words of healing wisdom for you, group number 3, we have these beautiful paper lanterns, which may also speak of some messages from an ancestor for you, because the paper lantern ceremonies are typically to honor the ancestors. Learn and grow from the wisdom of your feelings by allowing yourself to befriend rather than deny them. Absolutely. So this is something that's really been, again, important for me recently, is I noticed that I was denying my own feelings, and then I would get upset that people would deny them. But like, if I'm not even standing up for myself, who is going to stand up for me? So learning to accept how you're feeling. Again, as I said, if this is lack belief and you're feeling really low vibrational expressions, so like despair, anger, doubt about something, that you feel like you're pulling something negative into your life by these low expressions of emotion, or these low emotions, or these deep, heavy emotions. It's a normal part of the process, and allow yourself to acknowledge that, yeah, I'm feeling angry about this because I do think it's unfair that 1% of the population owns 99% of the world. That's really crappy, and I think that's the system that built that for us is really dysfunctional, and I don't know that I really want to fully invest in that, and I definitely don't want to be like those fat cats or those those money hungry people, but at the same time I want more money. So I'm coming to figure out how you can release the contradictory beliefs that you have around it being okay to ask for fair compensation for your energy, because you might have been running yourself ragged but not asking for enough value given back to you. You feel like you're undervalued, or you feel like people aren't really acknowledging what you contribute because you haven't been acknowledging yourself. So start with yourself and the rest will follow through. So this is what I have for you, group number 3. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide. I look forward to seeing your comments below about how this resonated for you. You might like to give this video a like, and also love to invite you to join this growing community around this channel by clicking that subscribe button. Until we meet again, as always, go in peace to love and to serve. Namaste.